October 2025 is not just transformative, it's explosive. Are you ready to look beyond charts and technical indicators? This month, we face the deepest financial power shift of the entire year. We're talking about systemic, foundational change. Get prepared. This is where the whales move, the masses panic, and fortunes are made. On October 14th, Pluto turns direct in Aquarius, signaling a massive seismic shift that will demand a profound reevaluation of every asset class. Welcome to your comprehensive crypto and financial astrology forecast for October 2025. We are diving deep, using Western tropical financial astrology and the archetypal whole sign house system to decode the crucial influences shaping market sentiment. This analysis moves beyond conventional metrics. We are decoding the collective market psychology, from the impulsive optimism of retail traders to the deep-seated anxieties of institutional players, to provide you with a unique strategic edge. October 2025 is a period of intense financial scrutiny. We are tracking the powerful transition from Libra balance to ruthless Scorpio intensity, coupled with the monumental Pluto direct in Aquarius on the 14th, and the volatile Sun, Mercury, and Mars stellium dominating the month's second half. We'll even analyze how the October 29th FOMC rate decision will clash directly with these planetary forces. In this video, we provide specific, actionable forecasts for the volatile price movements of Bitcoin, Ethereum, and XRP, the fate of significant altcoin groups and the global power shifts affecting the US dollar index, DXY. We'll examine why precious metals, gold and silver, will become a critical systemic hedge against uncertainty. By the end of this forecast, you will have a unique strategic framework to navigate what could be the most significant and challenging month of the year. The celestial tapestry weaves a narrative of both intense risk and transformative opportunity. Disclaimer: please note, while financial astrology offers a distinct perspective, market dynamics are complex. We strongly advise that all traders integrate these insights with rigorous fundamental analysis and robust risk management. Be vigilant for geopolitical events or regulatory shifts, as these external shocks can quickly override astrological indicators. This video is for informational and entertainment purposes only and should not be considered financial advice. And now, let's decode the astrology and prepare your portfolio for October 2025. Overall astrological climate for October 2025, a month of volatile revelations and deep transformation. Overview: October 2025 is forecast to be a profoundly transformative and highly volatile period for global financial markets, demanding intense scrutiny and strategic patience. The overall climate is defined by deep financial introspection, significant power shifts, and the surfacing of hidden realities, signaling a necessary reevaluation of systemic structures. While the month begins with elevated tension and potential corrections, the prevailing long-term energies point toward a sustained, ultimately bullish momentum for cryptocurrencies and precious metals, which contrasts sharply with expected high volatility in the dollar index, DXY. This is not a period for complacency, as underlying currents will test market conviction and reward only the most disciplined action. The engine for these dramatic shifts is the pivotal astrological event occurring mid-month, Pluto stationing direct in Aquarius on October 14th. This powerful shift signals a forceful reassertion of themes related to decentralization, technological innovation, and the evolution of societal power structures, acting as a major catalyst for structural changes in the digital infrastructure and crypto regulation sectors. Furthermore, the strong concentration of the Sun, Mercury, and Mars in Scorpio throughout the month amplifies this transformative energy, underlining a period of decisive action, power struggles, and the confrontation of hidden financial dynamics, forcing a re-anchoring of market value. Investors should anticipate heightened volatility, particularly during the initial weeks, which may present strategic entry points for astute traders looking to buy the dip following potential early corrections. The mid-month pivot, reinforced by positive Venus aspects, is expected to fuel significant breakouts and sustained upward momentum across risk assets and safe havens alike. Given the implied systemic upheaval suggested by challenging long-term planetary dynamics, precious metals are likely to serve as a crucial hedge against instability. Success in this intense financial period depends on strategic positioning, diligent research, and maintaining discipline amidst alternating periods of exaggerated optimism and sudden corrections. Key astrological themes and market implications: October 1st to 6th, Mercury in Libra, early October volatility and reckoning. Mercury represents news, trading operations, market information flow. The beginning of October is predicted to be a period of considerable market volatility and reevaluation, largely influenced by Mercury's astrological movements. Initially, Mercury in Libra will foster attempts at market balance and negotiation. However, its challenging aspects, particularly a square to Jupiter on October 1st, are likely to inject an element of over-optimism and exaggerated claims into financial discourse, potentially leading to market jitters and speculative bubbles, especially in areas like Bitcoin, Web3, and AI. As the days progress, these initial optimistic sentiments will be tested. An opposition to Chiron on October 3rd will bring underlying market sensitivities and past financial vulnerabilities to the forefront. This could manifest as news revealing systemic issues within the crypto space, challenges to stablecoin stability, or reports on regulatory gaps and past exploits, fostering market anxiety and a bearish sentiment for assets perceived as vulnerable. The tension will further increase with quincunxes to Saturn and Neptune, suggesting uncomfortable adjustments and the potential revelation of hidden truths or confusion in short-term market trends. The volatility is expected to culminate around October 6th to 7th, marking a critical turning point. As Mercury shifts into the investigative and intense sign of Scorpio, it will face a series of challenging aspects to outer planets like Neptune, Uranus, and Pluto, alongside the nodes. This celestial configuration signals an influx of potentially disruptive or even manipulative information. For cryptocurrency markets, this suggests heightened scrutiny, the uncovering of hidden data, and a confrontation between speculative enthusiasm and power struggles. The full moon in Aries on October 7th will further amplify this aggressive energy, potentially leading to an impulsive peak or a sharp market reversal, making traders wary of fakeouts and mixed signals during this tumultuous early October period. October 6th to 29th, Mercury in Scorpio, stellium with Mars and Sun, deep dives and strategic accumulation. From October 6th to 29th, Mercury moves into Scorpio, ushering in a period of intense, investigative energy across the financial and crypto markets. The ingress kicks off with a volatile mix of hard aspects, a square to Pluto and quincunxes to Uranus and Neptune, that tend to stir up sudden, disruptive headlines, expose hidden weaknesses, and fuel rumors. In practice, this may bring sharp, unpredictable price swings in Bitcoin and altcoins as misinformation, exchange scandals, or aggressive central bank statements could hit the headlines. Traders should treat October 67 as a high-risk window. The dominant theme will be information warfare, with power struggles over data and narrative control. Mid-month, the tone shifts as Mercury forms more constructive aspects. A trine to the North Node, October 14-20, aligns the flow of news with the longer-term evolution of the crypto ecosystem, hinting at developments that feel right for the industry's future. The Mercury-Mars conjunction on October 20th intensifies debate and accelerates price action, especially for privacy-focused tokens and cybersecurity projects, while the subsequent trine to Jupiter, October 24th, and Saturn, October 25th, begins to bring clarity and structure to the earlier chaos. By the end of the period, Mercury's trine to Neptune, October 29th, suggests that the most confusing narratives start to settle into more coherent, optimistic storylines, though in opposition to Uranus on the same day warns of one last surprise twist before the month closes. Overall, the Scorpio stellium, Mercury, Mars, and later the Sun, points to deep dive research, strategic accumulation, and a heightened focus on hidden value and tokenomics. Expect heightened scrutiny of privacy altcoins, DeFi protocols, and projects with strong security foundations. These may enjoy short-term bullish momentum. Bitcoin and Ethereum are likely to remain relatively neutral as institutional players weigh the new information, while volatility spikes will be most pronounced around the key aspect dates, October 67, October 20th, October 23-29. After the initial turbulence, the later trines to Jupiter and Saturn could lay the groundwork for more stable, growth-oriented moves, especially for assets that demonstrate clear utility and institutional backing. In short, October 6-29 will be a roller coaster of fast-moving headlines and deep investigations. Early-month traders should brace for erratic swings, mid-month participants can look for opportunities tied to aggressive news bursts, and late-month investors may benefit from the emerging, more structured narratives that follow the stabilizing aspects. Keeping an eye on privacy-focused tokens and any regulatory or partnership announcements for XRP, XLM, and similar assets will be key to navigating the month's scorpionic intensity. October 7th, full moon in Aries. The full moon occurring on October 7th, 2025, in Aries, marks a point of maximum tension and emotional peak in the lunar cycle, often correlating with significant market reversals. Its influence is sharpest 3 to 5 days around the exact opposition, setting the dominant themes for the subsequent 2-week waning phase. This full moon falls on the cardinal Aries-Libra axis, bringing to culmination market dynamics initiated approximately 6 months prior, Trump tariffs. The Sun in Libra emphasizes established order, regulation, and balance among governing bodies, directly opposing the Moon in Aries, which represents aggressive action, speculation, and the impulsive sentiment of retail traders. This opposition signifies a high-tension confrontation between regulatory stability and speculative market forces, historically leading to highly volatile, impulsive moves, market shocks, and sudden spikes driven by competitive pressure. Astrologically, this lunation is further shaped by the intense influence of Mars in Scorpio, suggesting deep transformation related to leverage and debt manipulation, alongside Uranus, which points to sudden shocks and technological shifts. This combination indicates a period of acute market volatility, where sharp, impulsive moves are likely. However, these movements are anticipated to be more about clearing leveraged positions and purging weaker hands rather than signaling sustained, smooth growth. In specific financial markets, Bitcoin, BTC, and altcoins are expected to experience high volatility, characterized by sharp, impulsive price action, including potential flash pumps or dumps, driven by the speculative Aries energy. The combined influence of Aries' aggression and Scorpio's transformative power in the derivatives market suggests that while prices might spike quickly, regulatory pressure, Libra Sun, and the imperative for deep market transformation, Scorpio, could lead to quick corrections or reversals as weak foundations are purged. Institutional caution, Jupiter in Cancer, further supports this outlook, making the environment too intense for sustainable upward momentum. Therefore, the outlook for BTC and altcoins, including XRP, which is highly sensitive to regulatory themes, is assessed as neutral to bearish due to heightened volatility and reversal risk. Conversely, the dollar index, DXY, is expected to be neutral to bullish, as the Sun in Libra's emphasis on balance and international agreements, coupled with institutional focus on foundational security, Jupiter in Cancer, often favors the USD as a reserve asset during global tension. Precious metals, gold and silver, are forecast to be bullish. During periods of systemic fear and deep financial transformation, driven by concerns over debt, derivatives, and hidden risks, Mars and Mercury in Scorpio, and impulsive fear, Aries Moon, these assets serve as a flight to safety. While highly volatile, they are expected to maintain strong underlying support from geopolitical tensions and financial uncertainties. October 13th, Venus in Libra, rebalancing value and partnerships. Venus represents value, stability, partnerships, risk appetite. The beginning of October finds Venus in Virgo, signaling a critical focus on efficiency, practical valuation, and the rigorous analysis of assets. Market sentiment is highly discerning and cautious. However, this period immediately introduces friction, as challenging aspects, including the sesquisquare to Pluto and the opposition to the lunar nodes, demand a forced, uncomfortable re-evaluation of established worth, confronting potentially hidden power dynamics and entrenched karmic financial patterns. This pressure initially impacts traditional precious metals and established crypto assets, prompting a need for asset repricing based on fundamental viability rather than speculation. The primary restrictive pressure arrives mid-month with the powerful Venus opposition to Saturn on October 11, historically coinciding with market pullbacks and credit tightening. This transit severely restricts liquidity, tightens lending conditions, and fuels heightened investor caution, particularly bearish for equities and speculative altcoins. The ongoing influence of Saturn retrograde in Pisces compounds this, generating continuous regulatory confusion, institutional defensiveness, and a preference for consolidation over speculative growth. This environment keeps large market makers cautious, tightening the financial foundations, though a brief optimistic window appears around October 8, Venus sextile Jupiter, suggesting opportunities for easy gains in innovative, yet unconventional, DeFi or overlooked altcoin niches. Overall, the overarching theme of the month, dictated by the lunar nodes, is structural and karmic financial restructuring. Markets are being pushed to shed outdated, over-speculative habits of the past, South Node, in favor of future economic paths that prioritize innovation, compliance, and technological advancement, North Node. This means established or legacy assets that fail to adapt are likely to face contraction. Consequently, the month emphasizes a crucial period for realistic decision-making, where only the most robust and forward-looking projects, particularly those aligned with advanced Web3 and AI infrastructure, are supported, while widespread market growth remains hampered by sober assessments and regulatory limitations until the focus shifts to partnerships when Venus enters Libra on October 13. The shift of Venus into its home sign of Libra, beginning October 13, immediately signals a critical period focused on rebalancing value, establishing fair market structures, and fostering strategic partnerships within the digital asset landscape. Moving from the analytical details of Virgo, this transit pushes the market toward equity, cooperation, and the rigorous cultivation of mutually beneficial alliances, aiming to achieve a more harmonious and balanced ecosystem for digital assets. This quest for fair value, however, is anticipated to be a turbulent process, driven by simultaneous powerful transits. Venus immediately forms trines to Uranus, symbolizing innovation, and Pluto, representing underlying power dynamics. This suggests that the status quo will be challenged by sudden, transformative shifts in market structure and how value is perceived and partnerships are formed within the crypto space. Simultaneously, an opposition to Neptune, which governs illusion and liquidity, ensures that these disruptive changes will actively challenge deceptive narratives, unsustainable centralized projects, or widespread over-optimism prevalent in the market. This complex astrological interplay points to a critical turning point where initial confusion about true value could rapidly give way to profound transformations. Consequently, the coming weeks are pivotal, bringing critical scrutiny to various sectors. There will be a renewed focus on projects emphasizing stability and clear utility, including the valuation of established altcoins, DeFi interoperability solutions, and a rigorous assessment of stablecoin protocols. While the overall market sentiment leans neutral to bullish for established DeFi projects and partnership-focused altcoins, investors must exercise extreme caution. Projects lacking clear utility or those relying heavily on overly optimistic or deceptive marketing are particularly vulnerable. The period of October 14 to 15, with Venus trine Uranus and Pluto, may present a brief window of risk-on sentiment historically favorable for crypto rallies, particularly in AI Web3. Narratives. However, this is immediately accompanied by the Venus opposition to Neptune, serving as a strong warning against succumbing to hype and potential deception. October 14th, Pluto direct station in Aquarius, the great unveiling of corporate power, deep structural shifts. On October 14th, Pluto stations direct in Aquarius, an event astrologically termed the Great Unveiling of Corporate Power, signaling a profound acceleration of structural shifts in global finance and technology. After a period of internal and hidden restructuring during its retrograde phase, Pluto's transformative energy moves decisively outward, bringing corporate power, global monopolies, and deep market cycles into overt action. This transition demands regulatory clarity and institutional repositioning, suggesting a sudden acceleration in the restructuring of global capital, the redefinition of wealth, and the release of previously suppressed financial and technological energy. This deep structural shift is poised to act as a major catalyst for technology and digital assets, particularly the sectors of artificial intelligence, AI, Web3, and decentralized finance, DeFi. The long-term trends toward technological advancement are expected to solidify, often through significant institutional moves, major corporate partnerships, or the imposition of new regulatory frameworks. This period will vividly emphasize the ongoing power dynamics between centralized entities and decentralized protocols. The challenge lies in integrating disruptive decentralized ideals while navigating attempts by established power structures to control or consolidate these new technologies. The market implications of this transit are significant. While Bitcoin, BTC, and Ethereum, ETH, are anticipated to experience volatility, the long-term outlook is structurally bullish for digital assets, especially those focused on transformative technologies like AI altcoins and ISO-compatible DeFi. Conversely, the intense scrutiny on global power dynamics and the re-evaluation of reserve currencies are expected to place underlying pressure on traditional fiat structures, suggesting a potentially bearish trend for the US dollar index, DXY. As digital and fiat systems wrestle for dominance, traditional stores of value such as gold and silver are also expected to firm up, serving as an attractive hedge against systemic financial risk. October 20th to 26th, Mars conjunct Mercury and Lilith, hidden motives and untapped potential. Mars represents market activity, risk-taking, sudden moves. The financial markets during October are dominated by the intense and aggressive energy of Mars transiting through its co-ruled sign of Scorpio. This placement fosters a climate of deep investigation, strategic maneuvering, and decisive action, often focused on debt, hidden value, and transformative power. The overall environment is highly volatile, a true whale's playground, where market makers actively exploit leverage and hidden liquidity. Earlier subtle frictions, Mars sesquisquare to Saturn and Neptune, may frustrate retail traders with false starts, but the energy builds aggressively heading into the final week of the month, setting the stage for major pivots. The peak volatility window occurs between October 20th and 26th, driven by the close conjunctions of Mars with Mercury and Lilith. This celestial convergence is a classic signature for aggressive market manipulation, sudden flash moves, or dramatic short-term rallies fueled by highly charged narratives. The influence of Lilith, in particular, highlights the role of hidden motives, unconventional strategies, and the sudden emergence of suppressed information. This period suggests that insider activities, the tapping of dark pools of liquidity, or a growing demand for anonymity, potentially boosting privacy altcoins, will dictate direction. This powerful stellium of Mars, Mercury, and Lilith signifies a potential financial rebellion, challenging the status quo and bringing undervalued or overlooked assets into sudden focus. Following the volatile mid-month period, the market energy pivots toward a more constructive and calculated dynamic nearing the end of October. The shift arrives with Mars forming stabilizing trines to Jupiter, October 28th, and Saturn, October 29th. This transition favors institutional activity and calculated risk-taking over sheer aggression, promoting a surge of optimism and potential relief rallies. Where the earlier part of the month encouraged ruthlessness and sudden swings, the closing transits signal that underlying fundamental trends may finally find structural support, allowing stronger, more sustained market directions to emerge heading into November. October 21st, Libra New Moon, a tense rebalancing. The Libra New Moon, scheduled for October 21st, 2025, marks a critical seeding point. A new moon initiates a 29-5-day lunar cycle and sets the tone for a broader 6-month financial arc. While Libra traditionally signifies balance, partnership, and equilibrium, this specific lunation is exceptionally potent and complex, immediately initiating a period of tense rebalancing across global financial markets and regulatory landscapes. This event is characterized by aggressive astrological challenges that guarantee maximum friction. The new moon forms a powerful cardinal T-square involving Jupiter in Cancer, representing centralized wealth and institutional protection, and Pluto in Aquarius, symbolizing transformative technology and disruptive institutional power. This configuration pits the search for contractual fairness, Libra, against the anxiety surrounding foundational security standards. Regulators and market leaders, the Sun, are poised for a significant power struggle with technological disruptors, like decentralized finance entities. Meanwhile, public sentiment and retail traders, the Moon, will experience heightened anxiety, feeling vulnerable to past financial hurts as they seek stability in a chaotic environment. Adding significantly to the immediate volatility is a Mercury-Mars conjunction in Scorpio, which drives intense, high-volume, and speculative trading. This placement suggests a surge in aggressive buying or selling focused on uncovering hidden financial information, debt issues, or major foundational decisions. The energy shifts from diplomatic Libra negotiations to profound, potentially ruthless, transformation driven by exchange audits and deep investigative maneuvers. Consequently, the 2-week waxing phase following the new moon is expected to be intensely volatile, marked by sharp price movements. The Libra new moon initiates a critical 6-month cycle overwhelmingly focused on justice, contracts, and regulatory equilibrium. This conjunction of the Sun, market leaders, and Moon, public sentiment, on the Aries-Libra axis demands that market forces resolve long-standing disputes and establish clear, fair legal frameworks. The overarching tension over this period will revolve around balancing collective needs and partnerships, Libra, with individual action and independence, Aries, specifically, the conflict between regulation and decentralization. The themes established now will mature and reach a crisis point or significant achievement during the corresponding full moon in Aries in April 2026. For cryptocurrencies, the success of this cycle hinges on achieving definitive regulatory clarity. While Bitcoin's long-term strength relies on the institutional stability promised by Libra themes, e.g., ETFs and custody solutions, the immediate short-term 2-week period is marked by a rapid, volatile shakeout driven by the aggressive Scorpio placements. This volatility serves as a necessary purification before a sustained move. This lunation is particularly impactful for XRP, as its core legal battles align perfectly with Libra's emphasis on justice and legal verdicts. Extreme price swings are highly likely, and the alignment suggests a major pivot point or definitive legal outcome around this sensitive time. In traditional markets, the systemic stress of the cardinal T-square places pressure on foundational national currencies. The US dollar index, DXY, faces conflicting pressures. While it may receive temporary support from global insecurity, Jupiter in Cancer, it is fundamentally challenged by the Libra focus on trade balance and diplomatic negotiations. Conversely, precious metals, gold and silver, are forecast to see bullish demand. The high geopolitical and systemic financial stress signaled by this lunation makes gold and silver attractive hedging assets, favoring traditional, secure stores of value against potential instability. Overall, significant sentiment-driven volatility and high trading volumes are expected, particularly around October 21st and throughout the subsequent 2-week phase. Assets like gold and silver are anticipated to be strongly bullish, flight to safety assets, while Bitcoin also shows strong potential, benefiting from disruptive energies. The US dollar, however, is likely to be bearish, lacking stability amidst the rebalancing act. The market will be tense, striving for a new equilibrium that will be difficult to attain smoothly in the short term. October 22, Neptune's retreat into Pisces, a return to the fog, re-evaluating illusion and liquidity drift. The celestial shift occurring on October 22, when Neptune retrogrades back into Pisces, signals a profound return to themes of collective illusion, dissolution, and market confusion, a period often described as the fog. This movement marks a retreat from the aggressive, pioneering speculation characteristic of Neptune in Aries, compelling market participants to step back and reevaluate projects that have relied heavily on sheer momentum or hopeful exuberance. In this Piscean environment, true valuations become obscured, raising the potential for speculative bubbles built on unrealistic expectations, particularly within highly hyped sectors of the crypto market. The immediate cautionary effects involve increased susceptibility to fraud and deception, urging extreme prudence regarding opaque and unproven ventures. This return to Pisces acts as a market reality check, simultaneously exposing existing delusions and forcing a pivot away from aggressive, unverified growth towards stability and foundational value. While this astrological dynamic amplifies emotional tides, making public sentiment highly susceptible to narratives of universal financial transformation, it also highlights potential issues around liquidity drift and inflationary or deflationary pressures, impacting DXY and stablecoin markets. Consequently, the focus is expected to shift dramatically toward established, liquid assets and projects built upon strong communal backing and demonstrable utility. The overall market sentiment suggests extreme caution, projecting a neutral to bearish outlook for highly volatile and hyperspeculative altcoins, as traders increasingly mistrust signals and seek safety over unverified growth. October 23, Sun from Libra to Scorpio, a shift in overall market health and confidence, from seeking equilibrium amidst unsettlement to a deep dive into transformation. October 2025 begins with the Sun in the diplomatic and relationship-oriented sign of Libra, shifting towards the intense and transformative sign of Scorpio by the end of the month. This celestial journey for the Sun, representing the core economy, market leaders, and overall confidence, suggests a period starting with a quest for balance and partnership, gradually giving way to deep scrutiny, power dynamics, and potential major overhauls. This period is characterized by diplomatic efforts and a search for equilibrium in economic valuations. However, this pursuit of balance will be tested by several challenging astrological aspects, indicating underlying tensions and necessary adjustments within the core economy and among major institutions. Around October 9, the Sun's subtle but disruptive connection to Uranus may bring unexpected news or policy shifts, affecting established corporations and market leaders. This could create a feeling of unease, hindering true stability. Simultaneously, an awkward adjustment signaled by the Sun's link to the lunar node suggests that current market strategies may be misaligned with the collective economic trajectory. Major indices and corporations could experience a neutral to mildly volatile sentiment due to these subtle yet unsettling shifts. The middle of October, particularly around October 17, brings more pronounced challenges. A Sun square to Jupiter points to a potential for over-optimism and inflated expectations within the economy, possibly leading to unsustainable rallies or an overestimation of market strength. This could be followed closely by a Sun opposition to Chiron, which will bring underlying market vulnerabilities and systemic weaknesses to the forefront. This aspect suggests a painful realization about the true state of the economy or its leaders, necessitating a period of adjustment and healing. These factors collectively introduce a mildly bearish tone for sustained growth and a bearish outlook for the perceived health of major market players. Further complicating the Libra transit, around October 19, the Sun's connection to Saturn indicates the need for difficult structural adjustments. Market leaders may face challenges balancing growth ambitions with restrictive policies or austerity measures, suggesting a neutral to mildly bearish sentiment for unchecked market expansion. As the Sun approaches its sign change, a link to Neptune introduces confusion or misleading narratives about the health of major corporations, creating a neutral to mildly bearish environment for clear, decisive action from market leaders. By October 23, the Sun's entry into Scorpio marks a significant shift in the market's psychological landscape. This period will be characterized by intensity, transformation, and a focus on hidden power dynamics, debt, and regeneration. The market's attention will move from diplomatic negotiations to a more investigative approach, delving into the deeper, often concealed, forces at play within the economy and its leadership. Upon entering Scorpio, the Sun immediately forms a quincunx to Uranus, highlighting the need for further, and potentially enforced, adjustments due to unexpected disruptions. This is followed by a sesquisquare to the node, signaling minor but important realignments with the collective path, now viewed through a lens of profound change. The market sentiment during this period is expected to be neutral to volatile as participants grapple with these new, intense realities. October 23, Jupiter square Chiron, exposing market vulnerabilities and unconventional healing, the critical astrological signature of the Jupiter-Chiron square, peaking around October 23, signals a mandatory period of exposure for deep-seated market vulnerabilities and past financial traumas. Jupiter, positioned in nurturing Cancer, tends to expand sectors related to domestic security, real estate, and safe haven assets, emphasizing emotional investment and generational wealth. However, its square to Chiron in Aries, which highlights wounds related to courage, leadership, and past entrepreneurial failures, means that expansive overoptimism is directly colliding with structural weakness. This aspect brings old market scars back to the surface for necessary reevaluation, challenging existing growth paradigms and forcing participants to confront underlying defects rather than pursuing unchecked, unsustainable growth. Financially, this transit mandates a painful but ultimately restorative correction, targeting speculative bubbles, over-leveraged positions, and projects built upon overly ambitious or shaky foundations. Jupiter's influence in Cancer heightens the demand for protective capital flows and security, reinforcing the bullish case for safe haven assets like gold and silver amid turbulence. Conversely, highly speculative or fragile assets, such as certain altcoins or overvalued tech stocks, are likely to experience sharp volatility, exaggerated rallies followed by steep corrections as institutional investors, whales, overreact to both optimism and incoming bad news. The short-term sentiment is generally bearish for fragile assets as vulnerabilities are exposed to the public eye. Throughout October, Chiron's active engagement ensures that systemic weaknesses remain a front-and-center topic, particularly concerning issues of security, valuation, and decentralized finance, DeFi, integrity. The eventual collision with expansive Jupiter demands not just observation, but radical change. The period necessitates the emergence of unconventional healing mechanisms or new regulatory frameworks designed to address these long-standing financial scars. While the immediate exposure of flaws initially creates a disruptive, bearish atmosphere, the ultimate necessity of confronting these fundamental defects holds the potential for a long-term shift toward innovative, sustainable solutions, leading toward a renewed and more robust financial landscape. October 24, Sun square Pluto, intense power struggles and major market shakeup. One of the most potent aspects arrives on October 24 with the Sun squaring Pluto. This powerful planetary clash signifies intense power struggles, significant financial transformations, and the potential for a major market shakeup. Revelations about hidden corporate vulnerabilities, confrontations with massive debt, or a complete overhaul of established structures are all possibilities. This aspect suggests a period of profound restructuring, which, while potentially painful in the short term, can lead to long-term regeneration. For established market players, this is a volatile to bearish influence on existing paradigms, yet potentially bullish for sectors poised for radical transformation or those that emerge after a necessary cleansing. Specifically for the DXY dollar index, this aspect suggests a period of intense power struggles and potential for significant revaluation or global realignments affecting the dollar's status, leading to heightened volatility as international financial dynamics come to a head. This intense aspect also signals deep market transformations and a potential for fear of currency debasement or global instability, often leading gold and silver to see strong surges as investors seek ultimate financial security. In the context of digital assets, the Sun in Scorpio intensifies the focus on the transformative potential and underlying values of cryptocurrencies. The Sun square to Pluto especially reinforces the theme of deep, systemic change within crypto. This could manifest as power struggles over market dominance, a significant repricing of assets, or a major shakeup in the crypto landscape. Bitcoin may face a crucial test of its long-term narrative, while altcoins could experience either dramatic gains or losses based on their fundamental strength and alignment with emerging power structures. The Sun square Pluto is considered bearish for privacy altcoins and stocks, underscoring the dramatic shifts expected. October 24th to 31st, trines to Jupiter, Saturn, Neptune, late October strategic strength. Late October, specifically from the 25th to the 31st, suggests a period of strong strategic direction. Harmonious planetary alignments involving Mercury, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, and Neptune indicate that disciplined, well-researched actions and insightful communication can lead to significant, stable growth. This environment is particularly favorable for projects with strong fundamentals, promising a clearer understanding of market dynamics. Market sentiment during this time is expected to be bullish for major cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, BTC, and Ethereum, ETH, as well as fundamentally sound altcoins. Precious metals may benefit from the overall increase in market stability and clear direction. However, the very end of the month also brings contacts between the Moon, Uranus, and Pluto, signaling potential extreme volatility and a washout bottom that could precede a significant bearish to bullish reversal. October 29th, Uranus of Mercury opposition, Uranus retrograde in Gemini, volatility and sudden market shocks. The month is defined by extreme market volatility and sudden shocks stemming from Uranus, which is currently retrograde in Gemini. Uranus in this position initiates a profound period of digital disruption, forcing a re-evaluation of technology, information flows, and communication networks. This astrological signature translates directly into unpredictable shifts in markets related to AI, Web3, and privacy assets. The volatility builds throughout the first half of October, especially October 7th. 14, as Uranus interacts closely with Mercury, the Sun, and Venus, suggesting periods of sudden surges and uncomfortable adjustments within innovative sectors. While the overall sentiment during this early phase is highly unpredictable, the market impact leans toward being neutral to bullish. The climax of the month's disruptive energy arrives on October 29th, when Mercury transitions into Sagittarius and forms a powerful opposition to retrograde Uranus. This planetary configuration is a classic indicator of rapid, expansive communications that deliver sudden, unexpected shocks to the system. Market participants should prepare for whipsaw price movements, potentially triggered by a major data breach, a crucial regulatory headline, or an AI crypto tech scandal that undermines sentiment. This late-month aspect suggests sharp reversals are likely, shifting the overall outlook from cautious optimism toward increased bearish pressure and significant late-month shocks, particularly impacting volatile assets like Bitcoin and influencing the DXY US dollar index. October 29th, FOMC rate decision and press conference. The astrological climate surrounding the FOMC rate decision is defined by exceptional intensity, systemic transformation, and entrenched financial positions. Dominant scores from Pluto, Neptune, and Uranus signal overwhelming systemic pressure, while the signature sign of Scorpio, Sun, Mars, directs focus intensely toward matters of debt, leverage, and controlling financial power. Decisions made during this period are inherently transformative. This environment is characterized by a volatile near-equal mix of deep emotional sentiment and liquidity fears, water element, and the rapid, abstract dissemination of information, air element. Crucially, the overwhelming fixed modality suggests market positions are stubborn, major shifts will require significant force, and resistance to chosen directions will be fierce. The intentions of the key financial powers are starkly contrasted. The FOMC's attitude is driven by Mars in Scorpio, signifying a need for intense control and secrecy over financial flows, mixed with a quiet commitment to systematic change, Pluto in Aquarius. Their communication strategy, Mercury in Sagittarius, will lean toward broad, future-looking optimism, potentially emphasizing a grand global view while glossing over fine details. Conversely, big crypto players operate with a revolutionary and highly leveraged mindset. Driven by decentralized ideals, Aquarius, they aim to capitalize aggressively on any perceived policy confusion or structural breakdown signals, translating the entrenched fixed market positions into opportunities for breakthrough gains through innovation and technological networks. Psychologically, the environment is confusing and prone to collective, instantaneous herd behavior. High Neptune influence creates immediate post-news uncertainty, making it difficult to discern policy reality from illusion. Traders will be looking for revolutionary signals, Aquarius Moon, but will likely receive generalized, optimistic statements, Mercury in Sagittarius. This contradiction guarantees whipsaw volatility. An initial shock reaction will trigger rapid, collective shifts, followed by an immediate reversal as traders reevaluate the broad rhetoric against the confusing backdrop of underlying debt and liquidity fears. Market predictions point toward high volatility across the board, with pressure testing key support levels in major stock markets as the underlying, hidden costs of policy, Scorpio energy, surface. The US dollar index, DXY, is expected to remain resilient, benefiting from its central position during global financial stress, though it will experience aggressive short-term spikes. Precious metals maintain a bullish underlying tone, appealing as secure stores of value amid systemic ambiguity and lack of trust. The crypto markets are the most amplified, facing extreme volatility. Bitcoin, BTC, specifically embodies the decentralized transformation agenda and is predicted to show a massive candle wick in both directions within hours of the news, ultimately resolving toward a transformative bullish bias, provided structural support holds. Market Sentiment Forecast, October 2025, General Crypto and Bitcoin Market Sentiment. Early October, October 1st to 6th October 2025 is forecasted to be a highly volatile and transitional month for the crypto markets, beginning with a significant period of caution and corrective stress before establishing a fundamentally bullish trajectory. The opening days, October 1st through 6th, present a tricky landscape driven by overoptimism. Initial market narratives are likely to be exaggerated, fueled by supportive aspects that quickly turn challenging, creating a sell the rip scenario where underlying structural vulnerabilities are exposed. Stress aspects involving Mercury, Jupiter, and Saturn historically align with policy shocks, profit-taking, and miscommunication, suggesting that investors should anticipate sharp corrections, especially in speculative altcoins and over-leveraged positions. Venus in Virgo opposing the North Node further reinforces this need for prudent valuation, prompting a risk-off phase where assets, particularly those in the ISO-compatible DeFi sector, face intense scrutiny regarding their utility and regulatory compliance. This volatile period is expected to peak around the Aries full moon on October 7th, which is explicitly noted as a volatility trigger that could lead to aggressive whipsaws or a decisive short-term top for Bitcoin and major crypto assets. The market environment shifts dramatically around October 6th as Mercury enters Scorpio, bringing an intense, decisive, and investigative focus. While the early month focuses on market weaknesses, this Scorpionic energy forces a deep dive into project fundamentals, potentially revealing hidden flaws, but also uncovering genuinely undervalued opportunities. Price action during this phase is aggressive and decisive. Although Bitcoin, BTC, and Ethereum, ETH, may experience significant retests of support during the initial tumult, the collective forecast for October remains ultimately positive. The heavy volatility of the first week serves as a necessary market shakeout, clearing out unsustainable speculative positions. For strategic traders, October is viewed as a crucial entry point following the initial correction, providing significant trading opportunities across major assets, BTC, ETH, XRP, XLM, and emerging sectors, Web3 and AI altcoins, as the markets stabilize and prepare for a broader advance. Mid-October, October 13th, 20th mid-month turning point. The period spanning mid-October represents a pivotal turning point for the crypto market, driven by powerful structural and financial alignments that favor a decisive market rebound. The defining moment occurs on October 14th, when Pluto stations direct in Aquarius. This event is a historically significant and long-term bullish indicator for the entire digital asset ecosystem, signaling a powerful release of energy and a structural transformation in global power dynamics. As Pluto moves forward, its transformative agenda asserts itself across decentralization, digital assets, and institutional engagement, demanding genuine utility and robust governance from projects. Simultaneously, the market environment remains intense due to Mars transiting strategic Scorpio throughout the month. This transit ensures high volume, rapid news cycles, and significant volatility, setting the stage for decisive breakouts or breakdowns among major assets like BTC and ETH as new power structures within the industry are tested and established. The structural transformation initiated by Pluto is immediately amplified by a potent financial catalyst, creating an optimal market entry window. On October 13th, Venus enters Libra, forming harmonious trines with Uranus and Pluto the following day. This specific alignment is a traditional hallmark of institutional flows and financial innovation, indicating that substantial capital will likely surge into innovative and transformative digital assets. This convergence, the Pluto structural shift combined with the Venusian capital inflow, creates the best buy-the-dip opportunity during the week of October 13th, 17th. Projects aligned with institutional adoption and cutting-edge technology are particularly favored, including ISO-compatible DeFi, Web3 platforms, and AI altcoins, which are poised for significant breakouts. As institutions rebalance portfolios in favor of these growth sectors and the bullish structural signal asserts itself, market sentiment is expected to shift rapidly away from caution, sending the fear and greed index sharply toward extreme greed, leading to a strong crypto rebound where altcoins join BTC's upside momentum. Late October, October 21st to 31st, the latter half of October, spanning from the 21st through the 31st, is poised to usher in a period characterized by harmonious and strategic energy, building upon earlier shifts. As Mercury and Mars ingress into intense Scorpio, their subsequent trines to Jupiter in Cancer, Saturn in Pisces, and Neptune in Pisces create a powerful synergy for calculated growth. This configuration suggests a market environment driven by diligent research, strategic accumulation, and a clearer understanding of fundamental value. Institutional players, embodying Scorpio's depth and discipline, are expected to make significant, well-considered moves. This period could see Bitcoin and Ethereum solidify their foundations, benefiting from a renewed focus on core principles and strategic investment, while precious metals also find stability in this more structured landscape. Further emphasizing this transformative phase, the Libra new moon on October 21st aims to stabilize or pivot Bitcoin upwards, just before the sun's entry into Scorpio on October 23rd doubles down on themes of death and rebirth, uncovering hidden value and profound change within the market. These powerful trines involving Mercury and Mars, especially towards month-end, signify that substantial institutional capital, expansive market interest, and a compelling vision for the future are aligning to support the crypto space. This is particularly bullish for Web3 and AI altcoins, hinting at foundational growth and widespread adoption. Privacy altcoins could also see heightened interest, aligning with Scorpio's dominion over hidden assets and discrete financial movements, while XRP and XLM might benefit from favorable legal or institutional developments. The first quarter moon in Aquarius on October 29 further reinforces innovative, community-driven aspects, signaling continued development and robust participation. However, this strategic growth is not without its challenges. Late October, particularly from the 24th to the 29th, carries shakeout risks, with the Sun squaring Pluto potentially signaling regulatory power struggles that may weigh on sentiment and privacy coins. The Mercury-Uranus opposition also points to high volatility and potential whipsaws. Yet, these turbulent moments are framed as healthy pullbacks or a final washout bottom, providing compelling buy-the-dip opportunities within an overall strong bullish trend. The Mars trine Jupiter on October 28, for instance, could mark a sharp end-of-month rally, suggesting a bullish reversal for Bitcoin into early November. Gold and silver may also benefit as safe havens during equity drawdowns, with DXY weakness post-October 29 adding to their bullish momentum. Overall, the market sentiment for October can be characterized as a journey from initial volatility to a period of strategic realignment and renewed, albeit cautious, bullish momentum, especially for assets positioned to benefit from Pluto's forward movement in Aquarius, earning a cautiously bullish score of 710. Asset-specific market sentiment, October 2025. In-depth forecast by asset class, crypto markets, general crypto outlook. The cryptocurrency markets are on the cusp of a significant transformation, poised to shift from an initial period of intense volatility to a decidedly bullish final structure, culminating in an overall market sentiment score of 810. The early part of the month is expected to see considerable pressure on major assets like Bitcoin, BTC, and Ethereum, ETH, particularly between October 3 and 11, leading to aggressive and choppy trading. This turbulence is anticipated to stabilize around mid-month, with a potential relief rally emerging by October 14-15. A clearer uptrend and decisive bullish momentum are projected to fully materialize towards the end of the month, specifically around October 28-29, following the initial period of uncertainty. Altcoins are anticipated to experience extreme reactivity, mirroring broader market trends, but with significantly amplified volatility, largely influenced by the current astrological climate. Key drivers include Pluto moving direct in Aquarius, signaling profound systemic redefinition and institutional shifts, alongside a strong Scorpionic emphasis that highlights themes of control, power dynamics, and the deep transformation of existing financial structures. While altcoins are generally expected to follow Bitcoin's direction, these intense planetary forces will lead to far more exaggerated price swings, particularly impacting tokens associated with new financial paradigms and institutional adoption. Specific altcoin categories are forecast to react distinctively. Assets such as XRP and XLM, foundational to cross-border payments and institutional integration, will be highly sensitive to Pluto's motion and the evolving financial systems. ISO-compatible DeFi altcoins, crucial for the global financial landscape, may experience rapid structural growth as new systems emerge, or conversely, face rigorous re-evaluation if vulnerabilities come to light. Furthermore, Web3 and AI altcoins, representing the future of decentralized tech, are expected to see accelerated adoption or pathway redefinition spurred by Pluto's forward momentum. Privacy altcoins could also see heightened demand as Scorpionic energy emphasizes hidden values and systemic weaknesses, potentially driving a flight towards enhanced anonymity. The general altcoin market is predicted to follow a whipsaw pattern, initial weakness followed by a strong recovery in the latter half of the month. Caution is advised through October 20th due to high risk of shakeouts, preceding a potential for sharp, focused pumps around October 26th. Overall, the market anticipates transformative growth, though investors should prepare for short-term volatility and intense pressure, especially around mid-month transits, which could trigger necessary corrections or regulatory scrutiny. The altcoin market outlook is characterized by cautious optimism combined with elevated risk, earning a market sentiment score of 710. This indicates a bullish forecast, albeit within a highly speculative environment, driven by intense themes of deep value, power struggles, and systemic overhaul impacting the entire cryptocurrency ecosystem. Asset-specific analysis, specific crypto asset analysis and sentiment scores. Bitcoin, BTC Bitcoin is forecasted to experience a period of considerable volatility throughout the month, particularly in its initial weeks, before transitioning into a more discernibly bullish phase. Deeply sensitive to major planetary shifts concerning power, value, and technology, especially those involving Pluto and Uranus, Bitcoin's trajectory this month is intricately tied to intense transformative energies, further amplified by the onset of Scorpio season. The overarching sentiment points towards an early period of instability giving way to strong growth, suggesting a moderately to strongly bullish outlook as the month progresses. The first week of the month, specifically October 1st to 7th, is anticipated to be extremely volatile. Mercury's challenging ingress into Scorpio, forming hard aspects such as a quincunx to Neptune Uranus and a square to Pluto around October 6th to 7th, signals a period of significant price swings, potential news-driven events, misinformation, and possible market over-leveraging corrections. The full moon in Aries on October 7th further contributes to this turbulent atmosphere, potentially leading to retail FOMO-induced spikes followed by swift pullbacks or initial bearish pressure. Caution is highly advised during this early phase of sideways movement and potential volatility traps. A significant bullish shift is strongly anticipated from mid-October onwards. A powerful catalyst is Pluto going direct in Aquarius on October 14th. As Pluto governs transformation and power, its direct motion in Aquarius, the sign of decentralization and future technology, serves as a potent bullish signal for Bitcoin. This alignment is expected to reinforce decentralized control and the foundational principles of BTC, potentially triggering major institutional inflows or leading to regulatory clarity that firmly positions Bitcoin as digital gold, or a core component of the new financial system. The intense focus of Scorpio season, with the Sun, Mercury, and Mars all entering the sign from October 23rd, will further amplify deep value examination and decisive price action, with strong, structured support for upward moves anticipated around October 28th to 29th, driven by Mars trining Jupiter and Saturn. In summary, after navigating an initial period of intense volatility and potential corrections, Bitcoin is poised for a significant bullish surge starting mid-month. The powerful direct motion of Pluto in Aquarius, combined with the transformative and value-focused energies of Scorpio season, is expected to make this a pivotal month for BTC's long-term trajectory. While early October presents challenges and volatility traps, the latter half of the month holds strong upside potential, driven by renewed institutional interest and fundamental reevaluation. The overall market sentiment for Bitcoin shifts dynamically, from cautious optimism in the early days to a dominantly bullish bias from mid-month, with a refined sentiment score generally ranging from 7 to 9 out of 10, indicating a volatile yet resilient asset with significant upside potential. XRP, XLM, ISO-compatible DeFi altcoins, the regulatory-focused assets, including XRP, XLM, and various ISO-compatible DeFi altcoins, are poised for a significant and highly bullish transformation in October. These tokens are exceptionally sensitive to planetary markers governing law, structure, finance, and global transformation, Saturn, Venus, Jupiter, and Pluto. The first half of the month is characterized by caution, as Venus transitions from service-oriented Virgo into partnership-focused Libra. Early friction is signaled by Venus's challenging aspects to the nodes and Saturn, which may introduce temporary delays or regulatory obstacles in current partnerships, keeping initial market sentiment neutral to mildly bearish. The decisive turning point arrives mid-month, fueled by the massive astrological catalyst of Pluto turning direct in Aquarius on October 14th. As Pluto governs deep structural change, its direct motion in the sign of technology and decentralized systems is expected to accelerate the adoption of new financial infrastructure by large institutions. For assets like XRP and XLM, which aim to be foundational components of the modernized global financial system, this transit suggests breakthroughs in regulatory clarity, progress with central bank digital currencies, CBDCs, or major strategic partnership announcements. This structural shift is amplified by exceptionally favorable Venus aspects occurring concurrently with Pluto's move, Venus trine Uranus and Venus trine Pluto. These harmonious alignments suggest that innovative financial technologies and transformative institutional agreements are coming to fruition, potentially leading to a sharp revaluation and strong price appreciation across the sector. Communication and negotiation throughout this period are intense, driven by Mercury's transit through deep Scorpio, focusing on crucial financial data and legal negotiations. This period of intense review sets the stage for exponential global expansion as Mercury shifts into Sagittarius late in the month. While XRP and XLM may experience early-month regulatory noise, typical given their sensitivity to legal cycles, the overarching cosmic momentum suggests that the mid to late month period will usher in a strongly bullish trend, overcoming initial resistance and delivering significant gains fueled by institutional acceptance. Ethereum Ethereum is charting a course through October influenced by a compelling array of astrological markers. Its inherent nature, tied to innovation, Uranus, community, Moon-Sun, and financial flows, Venus-Jupiter, is further shaped by its role in decentralized applications and smart contracts, linking it to Mercury and Pluto. The month is dominated by a strong emphasis on Scorpio energy, with Mercury entering on October 6th, followed by the Sun on October 23rd, while Mars is already in the sign. This collective Scorpio transit signals a period of intense development, deep technical dives into network architecture, and a high potential for significant upgrades or transformations within the Ethereum ecosystem, possibly leading to powerful on-chain activity and new revelations about its future direction. A pivotal moment for ETH arrives on October 14th, with Pluto going direct in Aquarius. This event is profoundly significant for Ethereum, as it underpins a vast array of decentralized applications. Pluto Direct is expected to trigger major infrastructure overhauls and a reassertion of governance and power dynamics within the ETH ecosystem. It could also spur new developments in scaling solutions and Layer 2 innovations, reinforcing the network's foundational strength. Complementing these shifts, Uranus retrograde in Gemini continues to inject disruption and innovation into financial value, placing ongoing pressure on ETH for efficiency and adaptation within its economic model or fee structure. The Mercury conjunct Mars conjunction in Scorpio on October 20th further emphasizes intense action and communication, likely manifesting as significant news or aggressive development pushes. Market sentiment for Ethereum is anticipated to be volatile early in the month, but transition to a bullish outlook from mid to late October. This strong bullish momentum, particularly post-Pluto Direct, will be fueled by the deep, transformative energy of Scorpio season, leading to renewed interest and appreciation for ETH's fundamental value and ecosystem growth. While a general bullish sentiment is expected mid-month, ETH remains vulnerable to corrective pressures from October 24th to 29th due to challenging Sun-Pluto and Mercury-Uranus aspects. Looking beyond ETH itself, the intense action driven by Mars and Mercury in Scorpio, alongside Pluto Direct in Aquarius, will significantly impact the broader DeFi landscape. ISO-compatible DeFi altcoins and other strong DeFi projects will be tested, but they also hold tremendous potential for growth and transformation if they align with the new power dynamics emerging within the ecosystem. Investors should watch for narrative shifts around scalability, security, and true decentralization. Web3 and AI altcoins. The Web3 and AI altcoin sectors are entering a period defined by intense transformation and speculative innovation, driven by several powerful astrological markers. These sectors, which fundamentally deal with decentralized technology, information flow, and disruptive finance, are strongly governed by Uranus, disruption, Mercury, algorithms and technology, Neptune, vision and speculation, and Pluto, transformation and deep infrastructure. This confluence of influences suggests that while the foundational potential is exceptionally strong, market movements will be highly volatile and prone to manipulative pumps and shakeouts. The primary bullish catalyst for this sector stems from the direct motion of Pluto in Aquarius on October 14th. This event is arguably the most significant transit, as Pluto in Aquarius signifies the acceleration of transformative technology and the overhaul of societal structures via decentralization. Its direct motion is expected to accelerate the deployment and impact of decentralized web technologies and advanced AI applications, potentially leading to major funding announcements, significant project milestones, and crucial steps toward mainstream adoption. This deep infrastructural change is supported by intellectual momentum, as Mercury shifts into Scorpio, October 6, 29, fostering breakthroughs in complex algorithms, data structures, and deep learning models. The subsequent move into Sagittarius expands this vision globally, setting the stage for wide-scale deployment. However, this transformative potential is deeply intertwined with high volatility and speculative risk. While the overall sentiment is structurally bullish, investors must navigate significant short-term swings. Mercury, Jupiter, and Neptune trines will encourage speculative narratives, making the mid-October window, around October 14th, 15, a prime time for speculative rallies and pumps. This exuberance is tempered by several reality checks and risks. Neptune's retrograde exit from Aries around October 22nd often deflates hype cycles, bringing a dose of realism to inflated valuations. Furthermore, the combination of the Mars-Lilith conjunction, driving hype-fueled breakouts, and the Sun's square Pluto, October 24th, specifically warns of manipulative activities and potential pump-and-dump schemes. Therefore, while these altcoins are positioned for rapid development and aggressive market penetration, market participants must anticipate aggressive volatility, demanding a highly cautious approach to trading despite the underlying bullish trajectory. Privacy altcoins. Privacy altcoins are poised for a notable period of activity, with a generally bullish outlook, particularly in the latter half of October. This is largely influenced by significant planetary movements, specifically the intense energies of Scorpio season and Pluto's direct motion. These alignments emphasize themes of anonymity, hidden value, data control, and digital rights, which are inherently favorable for privacy-focused cryptocurrencies, garnering a robust market sentiment score of 8/10. The astrological backdrop for privacy coins is heavily shaped by Neptune anonymity, hidden aspects, Pluto, control, power dynamics, secrecy, and the deep, security-focused energy of Scorpio. With Mars already in Scorpio, followed by Mercury, October 6th, and the Sun, October 23rd, this Scorpio season brings an intense focus on secrecy, hidden value, and robust security. This energy inherently supports projects focused on protecting data, anonymous transactions, and resisting centralized control. Furthermore, Neptune, the ruler of anonymity, continues its transit in its home sign of Pisces, underscoring the collective desire for privacy and freedom from surveillance, subtly enhancing the value proposition of these assets. Perhaps the most significant celestial influence for privacy coins is Pluto going direct in Aquarius on October 14th. Pluto, governing power dynamics, control, and transformation, will sharply bring issues of data control, digital rights, and the balance of power within decentralized networks to the forefront. This transit is expected to intensify discussions around digital identity and data sovereignty, likely driving renewed attention and demand for privacy coins as essential solutions. While Pluto's reassertion could lead to increased scrutiny of privacy solutions, potentially initiating a cat-and-mouse game with regulators, it ultimately serves to highlight the critical importance and ongoing relevance of privacy-enhancing technologies. Despite the prevailing bullish sentiment, some astrological pressures indicate areas of caution. The influence of Lilith in Scorpio, October 7th to 26th, suggests an activation of hidden market plays, though tempered by Saturn and Neptune, which could cap enthusiasm with underlying fears. Additionally, specific alignments like the Sun-Pluto aspect, October 24th, and Venus-Saturn-Neptune pressures might introduce narratives around potential crackdowns on privacy tools, leading to a more cautious, or even bearish, short-term outlook in specific moments. However, these challenges are generally viewed as part of a larger, transformative period that ultimately underscores the necessity of robust privacy solutions, making October an important and generally positive month for the sector. DXY and stablecoin markets. The DXY US dollar index is likely to face significant pressure and dynamic shifts during October 2025. With Pluto turning direct in Aquarius, a sign associated with global financial systems and decentralization, there could be profound implications for sovereign currencies and central bank policies. The Sun, Mercury, and Mars in Scorpio will scrutinize underlying economic data, debt, and the power dynamics of global currency. Jupiter in Cancer, while generally supportive of national assets, squares Chiron, indicating potential vulnerabilities or wounds related to the dollar's traditional role. The DXY is forecasted to move in the opposite direction to precious metals and potentially BTC during periods of risk-off sentiment or de-dollarization narratives that could emerge from the Plutonian and Scorpionic transits. We forecast a market sentiment score for DXY of 410, indicating a bearish sentiment overall, with periods of strong volatility. This period is expected to be bearish for the DXY. Early in the month, the DXY may fluctuate due to exaggerated economic claims or overextended policies. Mid-month, however, the pivotal shift occurs as Pluto turns direct in Aquarius on October 14th, signaling a necessary reevaluation of global power structures and the growing influence of decentralized financial alternatives on sovereign currencies. While temporary, flight-to-safety events, triggered by perceived economic vulnerability, may provide short-lived strength to the dollar, the overall focus late in the month shifts to profound structural scrutiny. With the intense Sun-square Pluto aspect around October 24th, institutional attention will be drawn to core debt issues and power dynamics, challenging the long-term foundational stability of the dollar. This intense volatility in the DXY creates a dual dynamic for stablecoin markets. In scenarios where global uncertainty leads to a traditional flight to safety within the established fiat system, the DXY strengthens, and demand for USD-pegged stablecoins typically spikes, offering a bullish outlook for their immediate usage. Conversely, the deep transformative energies driven by the Plutonian and Scorpionic transits suggest the potential for a crisis of confidence in the underlying US dollar and the traditional financial structure it supports. If the Sun-square Pluto aspect exposes fundamental systemic weaknesses, the perceived invulnerability of centralized, dollar-pegged stablecoins could face significant scrutiny, introducing bearish potential. Paradoxically, such a scenario would simultaneously create a highly bullish environment for truly decentralized cryptocurrencies and alternatives that are not pegged to the fiat system. Overall, October demands vigilance, as the movements in the dollar will directly dictate periods of risk-on and risk-off behavior within the broader crypto ecosystem. Precious metals, XAU and XAG, precious metals, traditionally valued as safe haven assets, are expected to experience significant appreciation throughout October, driven by underlying market uncertainty and profound astroeconomic transformations. The early part of the month, characterized by Venus in Virgo, suggests a period of practical scrutiny and re-evaluation of tangible assets. Initial market movements may see consolidation or minor risk-off pullbacks as investors weigh the long-term utility of gold and silver against other asset classes. However, subtle supportive aspects, such as the Sun sesqui-square Uranus, already point toward a general unease in the market, preparing the ground for increased demand as investors seek stability amidst minor disruptions. This cautious beginning sets the stage for a powerful shift. The decisive turning point occurs mid-month, signaling a strong bullish catalyst for XAU and XAG. October 14th is a pivotal date, marked by the powerful convergence of astrological events, Pluto turning direct in Aquarius, simultaneous with Venus entering Libra and forming harmonious trines to both Uranus and Pluto. This confluence indicates a foundational shift in how financial value is perceived globally, favoring hard assets over more speculative ventures. This alignment is expected to trigger a potential breakout rally, suggesting a strong consensus on the intrinsic role of gold and silver as stores of wealth. Furthermore, the revealing of core market vulnerabilities, Sun opposition Chiron on October 17, will typically reinforce their status as hedges against systemic instability. The momentum accelerates through the latter half of October, solidifying the overall bullish trajectory. The most impactful indicator is the Sun square Pluto, October 24, which signals deep financial shakeups, potential power struggles, or restructuring within monetary systems. Periods of intense financial uncertainty are historically highly favorable for precious metals, strongly reinforcing their role as the ultimate hedge against systemic risk. As the Sun joins Mercury and Mars in Scorpio, investment interest focuses intensely on protection from hidden inflationary pressures and deep value. While short-term volatility is anticipated due to the intensity of these transits, the overall sentiment for gold and silver remains highly bullish, sentiment score 810, positioning them for strong upward momentum as investors flee perceived instability in traditional financial assets. This concludes our monthly crypto astrology analysis. Please like, share, and subscribe to support my work. Thank you for watching. See you next time.